Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592, the website at allamericangold.com. And yes, we've made it to Friday. It couldn't get here soon enough. It's been a long, long week. It's been a week, really, where gold and silver pretty much have rallied all week long, continuing today. Gold's up 8, almost 9 here. Depending on where you look, 1798 for the December contract, which is getting ready to expire. The February contract, 1810. So we've held that 200-day moving average, another good sign here in the gold market. Silver up 38 cents right now, 23.44. The Dow is slightly positive, up 9. The Dow's S&P up 7, Nasdaq up 42. Of course, this market recap brought to you by YRefi. I've been talking about it all week. Listen, this is a prime example in why we've got to get government out of our lives. These guys deal with distressed. I'm talking about people that private student loans, they're in default. They've been in collections. Nobody wants to touch them. Nobody wants to mess with these people, putting lives back together. And you get to be a part of it because you get the reward of helping them. Because you know what? Banks, they don't want to deal with it. Hey, they're the ones that put these kids in this mess, and then they turn their back on them. Not my friends at YRefi. This is guaranteed income, and anywhere from 6.25% to 10.25%, depending on whether you invest for 1 year to 5 years. Everything guaranteed, no fees. If you got to take early withdrawal, you don't get hit with the fees. You get your full investment back. I mean, they just do everything so wonderfully. Please check them out. YRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letters Y, then REFY.com, or call 888-YRefi24. 888-YRefi24. Listen, they don't care about rate hikes. They don't care about, today we had inflation come in hot. Doesn't matter. Stock market's down. Doesn't matter. Stock market up. Doesn't matter. Check these guys out. Because it really is. You know, the cool thing about it is, listen, all of us like to invest and make money. But, Jason, the cool thing with YRefi, you're actually doing the greater good, something the government says can't be done, and we just need to do loan forgiveness. That's not the case at all.
Well, the reason it can't be done is, you have to have you have to have a bank. You have to have somebody with money that can loan the money out, and that just doesn't exist anymore. Here it is. We're in the Christmas season, and all you need to do is watch It's a Wonderful Life to see what the independent loaning, the building and loan, the struggles they have to go through to compete against the bank. And that's kind of what's going on right here. You almost have your own building and loan George Bailey thing here to help out school loans.
I will tell you right now, they blew me away. We had them. It's so funny is we had them on the Half Empty Cup, the small business section. That's how this relationship started. I know, like they got big guys, Larry Elder, Dave Ramsey. It's not like these guys aren't known, but they were so blown away by what we do and our programs here. They wanted to be a part and check them out. I mean, it really is pretty awesome that they're filling the void that the financial institutions. And again, think about this: who loans an 18, 19, 20-year-old? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars without any way of paying it back to get this piece of paper that really doesn't account for much. I guess you can be a cashier at Walmart. And then all of a sudden, the second they got a problem, Jason, they ruined their lives.
Yeah, that's right. So I really like YRefi, Joe. I think I've been listening to you talk about it. I'm just getting caught up because I'll be talking about it more and I've got all the information, investYRefi.com and the phone number 888-YRefi24. I think it's a great idea, Joe. It's just, I think it was a great addition to what we do.
I hope so. And again, we're always trying to find ways to where you can invest your money safely and not get caught up in all the Wall Street drama. And remember, I'm going to give out my son's number too, because I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of you don't know this, but you may only have one chance a year, and it's usually at the beginning of the year for some of these 401ks to get it allocated properly. Call my son. You're going to save yourself so much money. 602-909-9048. Gold's up again, Jason. We had producer prices. So we've got our first. Wasn't the CPI number. This was the PPI number, or the wholesale price number. And everybody, we were talking about, hey, inflation slowing. Apparently, it didn't slow, according to the numbers on the PPI, up another 0.3, 7.4% from a year ago. Again, remember, whatever happened to that 2% inflation number, a 38% surge in vegetable prices, helping push the food index up 3.3%. Even though the fuel index fell 3.3%. And again, we've been talking about food. Wait, food ain't done. Wait till they turn the water off in Yuma and in California in 2023. Even the core number, Jason, and again, all these numbers are manipulated. Even the core number, that was even hotter, up 0.4%. So that really, again, kind of goes to what Jason and I are saying. We can keep raising rates, but inflation is entrenched. We'll be back after the break. (800-951-0592) Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, allamericangold.com. And man, I don't understand what's happening out there in these markets. Outside of food now, new all-time record high. Well, who needs food, right? You don't need food. But you know what the next biggest jump in the PPI number? And again, I got to give out my son's number again. Save money. I mean, how hard is it? So easy. 602-909-9048. Guess what, Jason? Investment advice. Yep, brokerage, securities jumped 11.3%. That's why I said it doesn't cost anything over with my son. Reach out, save money. Jason, it's amazing how careless people can be with money. It's shocking that this is how dumb they've got. I just put money in the 401k and never do anything again.
Well, and a lot of people just want to, not have to think too much. They, the life is complicated. Some people just, working two jobs, or both mom and dad are working a job each, or maybe dad works two jobs, and life gets complicated, and they know they need to save for the future, and so everyone wants like an easy solution. And hey, if they just pull it out of my paycheck, I don't have to think about it anymore. And there's a lot, people lose a lot of money because of 401ks, because they just simply don't understand what's going on with their money that's going in there, Joe. And you got to be self-concerned, right? You got to know these things.
So much. I get so frustrated because I know what's coming. Again, another huge haircut is coming. You can avoid it all. I mean, maybe not all of it, but so much of it. And it's ridiculous. Think about this. 401k has been around now for like 40 years. Another one of these scams that they invented allowed companies to get rid of all their pensions and all that other stuff. And think about it. The average 401k balance. This is the average, not the median, the average. Which means, the guys with, hey, I got tens of millions, right? They sway this thing so much. Jason, it's not even $100,000. Vanguard yesterday, hardship withdrawals hitting all-time record highs. This is insanity. It's incredible. Yesterday, by the way, not to be outdone, just in case anybody's paying attention, the White House passed its massive, and again, this is why I always say, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. Kirsten Sinema, she's going to be an independent. It doesn't matter. The defense bill, $847 billion, the largest defense bill ever. I mean, it's just, look at this spending. It's just insanity. By the way, the vote passed, ready for this? 350 to 80. Really? 350 to 80?
Yep. Yeah. It's not completely one-sided, Joe, but that's pretty one-sided. So there's a lot of interest, right? Let me add one note. Let me add one thing. We don't take callers on the 9 o'clock show. I saw a couple of callers come in. We'll take calls at the 10 o'clock hour if you want to hop on over to 1360khnc.com, and but Joe, it looks like there's some interest in the show, so we'll just keep going. But we don't, Joe, we don't normally take callers on this hour.
Correct. One of the interesting things across the Department of Defense, 4.6% pay raise. That kind of makes sense, right? Of course, that's not enough, but it makes sense. But this was under suspended rules. So again, another way to circumvent the system. You needed to get 2/3 here. So why do I get the feeling the 80 was planned? Okay, listen, you get to vote no, and you can vote no, and you can vote no. So you can go back and tell your constituents that you're trying to be tough on it. But the spending, it just doesn't end. I mean, it started out, they asked for $813 billion, which is already completely insane. And somehow, Jason, apparently that wasn't enough. Well, what's the difference? Let's add another $30 billion. Why not?
It can't be enough, Joe, especially right now. The last 2 years with the inflation, one thing about the government is they do a lot of spending. And everything is inflated. It's not like there's just certain sectors that are inflated. Everything's inflated. So that means everything the government spends their money on is inflated now. So whatever they were spending money on before is simply never, it's already a debt money system, which means there's never going to be enough spending. But it's intensively worse now for the government because everything they put their money into costs more, just like your household does. So there's not enough money for the government to keep spending. Joe, they have to keep putting more into the pot.
And again, we don't have it, right, added to the debt, no big deal, right? We'll just finance it, Again, though, this isn't, 10-year notes at 0.5% anymore. And then you talk, Jace talks about because of money printing and making things unaffordable. Unaffordability of new homes in the United States continues to skyrocket. And this is exactly something, Jason, you and I have been talking about. Home prices are falling. But
yeah, absolutely.
The payments are getting higher.
Let me add one thing because Joe and I sort of disagree, I guess, a little bit. I think Joe sees housing prices going down drastically because of this, unaffordability that Joe brought in. Let me just reiterate this. Even if housing prices go sideways and your house doesn't lose value with 20%, 30% inflation, Joe, your house price is not keeping up with the inflation, right?
Well, and again, here's the problem. I don't know if keeping up with inflation, not keeping up with inflation, right? You got to live somewhere. But according to the October data now, it just gets crazy. It would now take half of the monthly income for Americans that are earning. Now, this is the median income. So median income, you take the highest guy making the most money, the guy making the least amount of money until you meet in the middle. And they're saying, hey, the guy in the middle, there's no way. You would have to have over half of their income to be able to afford a price. And here's the problem with this number, because it's actually worse than that. Because we know in the bigger cities where most of the people live, right, houses are more expensive there than they are in these other places. But, Jason, this is all-time record highs when it comes to unaffordability.
Yeah, Joe. Well, we have all-time record highs in our national debt, all-time record high deficits, right? That's the path we're on. It's not surprising if you're watching this, but it's going to, this inflation has just reared all these problems to be even louder and uglier. But, the average guy, I feel sorry for the average guy, Joe, because if you don't take some time to understand this stuff, you really do lose a lot in the long run.
I'm going to say this. In this report, and everyone uses data differently, but it was shocking to me because, when I think about median income, right, I'm guessing, somewhere in that 40 to 50,000. Not with these guys. They're saying the median income $78,595. You're making $80,000 a year, and they're telling you can't afford a house. That's insanity.
Well, Joe, you know what that also tells me is I've said many times where we're heading into sort of a version of the dark ages where you're going to have lords and peasants. That separation is happening right now. What's going to happen in the next few years is you'll see some reports of record amounts of millionaires being created here in the next 2 years. But they won't talk about the record amount of broken, bankrupted families. They won't cast too big of a light on that. So that median doesn't surprise me too much, Joe. I have a feeling that my number might go up a little bit before it actually then comes drastic. You'll see it snap right down somewhere in the next year or two. You'll see that 78 or 80, maybe go to 85. Then I think you see that thing snap right down to like 40 or 30 in the middle of inflation, by the way.
Well, this is the first time I'm seeing this number. They're now estimating that there's 450,000 home buyers who owe more than their house is worth. So remember, this happened during the last crash. And my guess is going to be these are probably people that bought in 2021. That's my guess, right? Maybe earlier this year, 2021. But 450,000 now are saying that they owe more than their house is worth. 60% of those, 270,000, bought their homes. There you go. In the first 9 months of this year. The rest of them bought most of those in 2021. So, again, that's going to weight things as well, right? How far down do prices go? We don't know. But the realities are we're starting to see now early payment defaults. This is starting to rise. So this is again, first time I'm seeing this among FHA purchase mortgage holders specifically. 25% have slipped underwater, and more than 3/4 have less than 10% equity. So these are going to be people, right, that were buying at the low end of the housing market. And we know that end got very competitive, right, with the flippers and the investors. And now they're saying, hey, these are the ones that are most in danger of being underwater, and another 10% drop puts the majority of them underwater. Black Knight, who's the one that did this research, said excluding the pandemic, the early payment default rate, which tracks mortgage delinquencies within 6 months of origination. So these are you got the loan. And a lot of times, and this was so funny, the guys at Why Refi were telling me this. Most people default, and I did not know this, within the first 6 months. He goes, it doesn't matter if it's a house, a car, student loan. That's when you're going to see the most defaults. They're saying that is at the highest level since 2009, Jason.
Yeah, I'll pat myself on the back a little bit here. I don't do it as often as maybe I should, actually, but
hey, Jason, I gotta get a call here. I'll be take over for me.
I'll take it. Yeah, piggybacking off what Joe was talking about with defaults and the prices of houses going up, especially in 2021 and 2022. I saw the same report Joe saw, which is these defaults are happening for people that bought houses this year, and then some, I would say most of them late last year or during 2021. When my wife and I, were watching the events of 2020 unfold, I immediately was looking at immediately when I saw the clouds of this thing happening in March of 2020, I started looking for a house. And in July of 2020 is when I locked in a price. I had an unusual economic situation, so the paperwork and some other things slowed down. We didn't actually move in till October, but when we locked the price of our home in 2020, I saw it coming. I saw it, and I knew inflation was coming. I said it several times during 2020. I didn't know it was going to be as severe as it got in 2021, and especially then this year, but I knew it was coming. And I saw shortages, and I saw all the problems that were heading our way because of the coronavirus overreaction. And, I did really well. I mean, even the house prices come back significantly. I knew, my wife and I, we knew we needed to get a place and get it quick because anybody that's listened to me on the air with Joe over the years to buy into Patriot Trading Group, my wife and I sold our house, used the equity to buy into Patriot Trading Group. In fact, I bought in at a small amount. Joe thought it was going to be a part-time job when I was working with him and then working at the radio station. When we found out it was going to be a full-time, I needed to be here doing everything all the time, especially with the radio station that he ended up buying, KHNC. I took the rest of my equity because I didn't have to give him all the equity. I gave him all the rest of the equity, and I had to get a loan and gave him all of that to buy into this gold company. So in 2020, the situation was like, well, I better find a down payment because I better own a house because it's going to be hard to own a house after 2020, and it's looking like that's bearing fruit now. Patriot Trading News Hour, this is Jason. I'm sure Joe will be right back with me on the other side of the break. Welcome back, Patriot Trading News Hour. Joe is taking care of some business, which is means you get me. So I was talking on the last segment about buying a home in 2020, and Joe had just finished off about the unaffordability of homes. Well, the inflation is and the tightening by the Fed, the quantitative tightening that you're seeing, the rates are going up. We are in December now. Next week we will have the CPI, which I think will stay in the 7s, might even go in the 8s. I don't know if it'll bounce up now, but I think you're going to see that number bounce up sometime between now and next year. And you're going to make the unaffordability of homes go up even more because I don't see the prices of homes going down, but that doesn't mean that there's not a housing price crash. What that means to me is let's say your home was worth, I don't know, $400,000. And then we get in several months from now, I don't know, March, April, May, June of next year. Oh, you're looking as, one of these housing price places, or, you do it, you do a little search. My house is worth $405,000. Now, at least it's, the first thing you think is at least it's not going down. However, if inflation is roaring at, logically 20%, Joe talked about the food prices going up and energy prices going up. Your house is staying basically, 5%, 405,000. Okay, your house went up 1% in my scenario. Inflation is 20%. Your $5 grocery item is now $6 because there's a 20% rise. How many times you've gone to the grocery store and the $3 item is, I would say that the $3.25 item is now a $3.95 item. It didn't go into the 4s, but I mean, look at that percent rise. That's more than 20%. I've been watching the inflation when it comes to the water that I buy and drink and how fast it went up. It did subside. We had this, there's optimism. I've even seen the newscast saying that, going into next year, but gas prices have come down. See, everything is better. Things are going in the right direction, right? The CPI was lower last month, and you have a lot of economic powerhouses out there starting to say the economic craziness that's going to happen in 2023. They're really urging the Fed to go back into stopping these rate hikes, getting them to stop. First of all, stop the rate hikes, and then after, of course, then the next encouraging will be, well, why don't we just drop these rates down because we want some free money? I think there's a lot of people that haven't looked at their economic history to see what you're experiencing at this moment in time is never exactly any economic situation from the past, but you can definitely see some things that have happened in the past and make really smart decisions yourself on how to react to that. I think the inflation of the 70s is so far removed from the average person in doing anything, whether you're a stockbroker or you're an economic expert or if you're just running a household, trying to buy your groceries and trying to figure out, like Joe said earlier, hey, are you that guy that just throws the money in the 401k and you don't even think about where that money's going. I mean, for one thing, one of the things I never liked about 401ks, and I never signed up for one. Most of my jobs didn't offer it. In years past, I have an interesting job history, but I don't think I would not have signed up. I like taking care of my money the way I want to do it. It's served me well. I've made mistakes. One thing about making mistakes with your money when you're in control of it, how much does it cost to get the so-called really good career job by going to college? How many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars does it take to become a doctor or a lawyer, right? And the idea is, well, I'm getting an education to put me in a profession that's going to pay me very well. Well, you don't have to spend money on education to become just a doctor or lawyer. You can figure out in the business world how to make money, and sometimes you're going to miss. And the successful businessmen out there that do a good job, they're going to miss. They miss several times. They can miss a lot. And those losses can be considered experience. This is how you learn how to not make that missteps. Sometimes if you're the inexperienced guy in the business world and you're making decisions and you're losing money, you may have all of your more experienced business friends say, don't do that, you're going to lose all your money. And you're like, well, I think I have to try this. And then you do it, then you lose. Sometimes you have to experience the sting of defeat and mistakes so that you understand, okay, I got to be smarter about this. So one of the reasons you guys out there listen to the Patriot Trading News Hour for so many years is gold and silver is really, really good for the inexperienced person trying to figure out what to do with their money. Every financial instrument out there that you want to get into, whether it be the stock market, your 401k, everything, gold and silver, everything. There's a cost to getting into any kind of investment. I try to steer clear of calling gold investment. The reason that stockbrokers and paper investors don't like gold and silver is there's not a really good way to make a killing and make a lot of money on gold and silver. If you're buying gold and silver simply to make a ton of money, unfortunately, this is how I've talked to my customers, you're not going to get rich buying gold and silver. It's just not going to happen. But I tell you one thing, and you can look at the charts of the inflated prices of goods and services in America, and you can look at the price of gold and silver, and you'll see that those lines are very similar. The price of gold and silver goes up because the dollar is being destroyed, and it's on purpose. The financial wizards that control money across this world, they have put a system in where inflation is inherently the way that they enrich themselves. And one way to protect your savings, and that's what gold and silver is, it's savings, is you put it in gold and silver. If you look at, let's go the simple things you can look at on a 100-year gold chart. The $20 Liberty, that coin is essentially a 1-ounce gold coin. This country had no inflation when we had no central bank. The entire century of the 1800s, a $20 Liberty gold coin in circulation spent, you could take that to the bank and get a $20 paper bill if you so chose to, which back then is fine. Paper money was good back then because you can exchange it for a $20 gold piece. So you can take a $20 bill, go to the bank, get that $20 gold piece out, right? Well, both of those things, the paper $20 bill and the gold coin, could buy you a cow. Now, something happened. Okay, and in 1913, the central bank was put into place. It was criminal. It was unconstitutional. But the people of America were caught asleep on a Christmas holiday. Nobody was paying attention. In fact, the 3 richest men in America that were against the central bank conveniently died on J.P. Morgan's Titanic ship. Guys that would have, and this was 1912. 1912 is when the Titanic sank. Those were the richest men that would have stood up. One of the only congressmen that was really railing against central banking was Charles Lindbergh. He was stomping his feet and pounding his fist, trying to stop it from happening, and nobody was listening. So the gold price, that $20 gold piece, yeah, we sell it. I think we sold really nice ones on sale for like $20.75 recently. I'm going to talk a little more about this, and you'll see how gold is savings and protects your savings when we get back. All right, welcome back, Patriot Trading News Hour. I'm your host, Jason. Joe had to step away for some business, and that's why we have 2 guys on the air. We can take care of more business. The number to call for gold and silver is 800-951-76 0592. I don't know if Joe got his special together, but he may be working on that as we speak. I was talking about gold as savings and why you need to, as the average guy, you need to take care of your finances. You need to become a financial expert at least on some level. And I was comparing that. Look, getting into any financial instrument, even gold, there's a premium. Joe and I, we pay a premium to get this gold so that we could sell it to you. And it goes all the way down to the miners, to the COMEX, the distributors. Everybody has to pay a little price to get the gold in their hands and sell it to the next level. We are no different. You are no different. What matters is that you put something in your possession that will retain its value as pure savings. Yes, there's a little premium that you have to pay. Joe and I we have work to do. We have expenses to get it from where we get it to get it into your hands, and so on and so forth. That's with every business. Everyone understands this.
Yeah, Jason, and I'm back, and just and I haven't caught all of this stuff, but the good part, especially like gold right now. By the way, since I've been off the air, gold's been moving here up almost $20 right now. That February contract, 18.20, front month, the spot price now 1808, silver 2370, the lead contract, the March contract, Jason, almost $24. Here's the good news. Premiums have come in on gold. I think they're probably as cheap as they're going to be. When you're talking about being able to buy a $20 gold piece for less than $300, $260 some dollars over spot. That's a really good place to be, considering spot is over $1,800. Silver premiums, which have been outrageous, have come in, right? They're better, right? So right now, we're talking about silver at almost $24. And the good part is, Jason, the prices are where they were when silver was about $20. So at least they've come in a little bit.
That's right. Which yesterday we were talking about how some of these big, huge internet sellers were $3 more expensive than us. So, just in my mind, a little bit of gouging there. It's like, well, do we have to lower this price just yet? Maybe, hang on a few days or a week, just, I don't know. I guess
we don't mess around. If our premiums come down, example, listen, silver's up almost 70 cents. I actually lowered the price this morning of my dimes, quarters, and half dollars because the premium came down. Yesterday we were selling silver. We still have the Silver Eagles at the exact same price today. And all of these other places, they continue to raise. I mean, you can't find Silver Eagle anywhere. And this is in volume now. They want $42. Well, you can buy a case here at $38. You can buy a roll of 20 at $39.
See, there you go. So, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier, Joe. I was talking about how any kind of thing that you put your money into, there's a little bit of a price or a fee or a premium or something. And I was just going into the comparison about how paper assets are there's taxes and fees and penalties and all this stuff. When you get your gold, it's yours. You do it privately with Patriot Trading Group. We buy it, we sell it, we trade it. Some guys don't like the coins they've got. They'll come in and give us their coins, and we give them the coins they want. They learn about this pre-33 gold, and they're like, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. Joe and Eric, and now Jason and Brian, we talk about the importance of buying pre-33 gold. But we'll sell, Joe, whatever comes across our desk, we get a good deal, we'll pass it by. And when the premiums are lower, that means, hey, cheaper for us, cheaper for you guys.
Yeah, exactly right. And we always the thing about us is how do you stay in business as long as we've been here 26 going on 26 years now, in treating people honestly and fairly. At the end of the day, that's really what you want in anything that you do, in any business you do. You want to be treated honestly and fairly. And that's what we try to do, and that's what we've always tried to do. We're going to make a few bucks. You're not going to get ripped off, right? And at the end of the day, that gives you the longevity, Jason.
Yeah, and that's right. And one of the things I was getting into, Joe, is about how there was no inflation in the 1800s. $20 bills, $20 gold coins, and a cow were the same. But when you start to see the manipulation of the financial markets in this country and in the world, They confiscated it in 1933, and then what happened, Joe? Oh, suddenly it was $35 for an ounce of gold. That's almost, what is that, 75% or whatever, and then 90%. It just instantly almost doubled in price.
Yeah, and I'm wondering with the new currency, the digital currency, what's going to happen here? Are we going to see a huge leg down in poverty in this country as the haircuts are handed out? Because when you have these things, right, it's laden with debt problems at financial institutions, and that's really one side of it. Right, and of course we already know the government's talking about picking the winners and the losers, which they've always done, and the losers are going to be those people in the middle. Hey, I'm not a millionaire, billionaire, and I'm not a poor person, but I've done well. I've saved my money. I got money in the bank. I've got a couple $100,000 in the bank or whatever it may be. Jason, I feel like those are the ones that are going to get punished the most.
Yes, and it's funny. It's funny how you say government picking the winners and losers. I'm hoping, and I think you got my email. I don't know if you saw that flow chart. I think on the Half Empty Cup of Joe, well, I think we should delve into FTX. If you look at this flow chart, and we won't, of course, we can't show the audience this. Boy, did a lot of dots get connected in my head seeing this piece. It explains everything.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. The relationship with FTX and Ukraine. That's one of the things that really stuck out to me. But Jason and I, we're going to wrap up this last segment. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. So new highs on this rally, rally from the low, that 1620. 6 weeks ago, I told you the bottoms were in there at 1620. You got the February gold contract, 1820. So we've had a $2 move here. It's crossed that 200-day moving average. But again, I think for us, 1840, 1850, that's going to be the next testing point. You break through there, and then you're starting in. Then again, you start talking about $2,000 gold, all-time high gold, silver. Again, every dollar here. So the lead contract, that March contract, through that 23.75. The spot price right now 23.70. Right. So just like I told you, that's kind of how silver goes here. We crossed 24. Then you kind of got to assume, okay, 24.75. If we cross 25, then we talk about 26. So this is definitely, this is just the start. And really, when you think about it, all gold did, gold's gone right back to where it started the year, Jason.
Right. Well, and just yesterday I did the average daily price of gold every year. From 2015 up, it's gone up every single year. Sometimes it only goes up a couple of dollars, $5, $6, $8. With gold underperforming all of 2022, to still have its average daily price be a couple of bucks up over 2021, Joe, is remarkable, showing you that you can suppress it with the paper gold just for so much, but it's going to push. And right now, it just feels like there's not enough fingers to stop the leak coming from the dams, right, Joe? It seems like that gold price is just going to explode. I keep saying the good old days, Joe. This is the next level of good old day price. We could have bought $20 liberties for $13.50, $12.50 when I first came on in 2018. This $2,100, $2,000 range, this is going away. You'd be looking at $2,500 to $3,000, $20 gold pieces next year.
Listen, $20 gold today, $2,075 is just, it's fantastic at 800-951-0592. I think not only have we seen the bottom for gold, I think we've seen the top for the dollar. Right, we're now on this, okay, Wednesday, we expect a half point, right? Well, that's less than 3/4. Even though, think about today, PPI says that, hey, you shouldn't be cutting at all. You should, at least, if anything, maybe even go higher, but if nothing else, at least another 75. That's not going to happen. We're starting to see today as an example, right? We're watching Carvana. Are they going to be filing for bankruptcy? Lululemon, the retailer, by the way, big fan of Lulu. Their clothes are expensive, but they're actually made really well. They said, hey, the consumers really slowed down. Blue Apron, that's another company that may be going under here, announcing layoffs as well. And Jason, I think we're starting to see, it's early yet, but we're starting to see some of the these layoffs, jobless claims, 230. It still wasn't that high, but I got a feeling right after the holidays, I think we're going to see a big step up in these layoffs. And again, I think that's going to continue to pressure the Fed to eventually stop raising rates, quantitative tightening coming to an end. There's so many signs that gold and silver 2023 is going to be, as Jason said, hey, some years it's just a little bit. But then all of a sudden in 1 year, boom, it's up $300, $400, $500. And I think that's, at least for right now, appears how 2023 is going to shape up.